Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the Evil Dungeon Master podcast. I'm your host, the Evil Dungeon Master Vince, and it's Monday. Happy Memorial Day to everyone out there. Hopefully you're having a great day, remembering those that have fallen for us. Remembering those that serve for us so we can have a free day here in the United States, a free day, when I say free day, a free day to live how we want to live our lives here in the United States. We thank all those men and women of the armed service for their sacrifice. Just want to take a moment there to, think about it as we move on today for today's show. So I got an email from, you can email me at askthedm@theevildm.com, or you can go to my website, theevildm.com, and click the email there. It'll show you my email address, or you can use the contact form. Hopefully you'll use that to get in touch with me. But I just got back from GalaxyCon, and I'm a little exhausted. And a little rundown from the convention. Did a lot of walking, did a lot of seeing artists, getting pictures signed, and got some books, which I put up on my Facebook and Twitter account of things that I came away with. Some really good artwork. I'm just happy about all the stuff I did. Great convention. I can't wait to go next year if they have it next year in Oklahoma City. This was the first time they had it there. So we'll see what happens. But back to the email. I got an email from LeroyD20, who is also LeroyD20 on Twitter. He says, longtime listener, first time writer, love the mini podcast. Hopefully Nick and Matt could join you for an episode here and there. No, I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. Nick has a lot of stuff going on with his family and daughter getting married. So it might be a while before that happens anytime soon, unfortunately. And Matt works crazy hours because they fired a bunch of people at his work, and he's picking up the slack, and he doesn't usually work until about 7, 8 o'clock at night, his time, Eastern time. By that time, I'm usually asleep because I get to work really early, around 6 a.m. So it might be difficult. And on the weekends, he does wrestling. Yeah, he does his own indie wrestling stuff. So, Matt wants to be a wrestler. Good for him. Part of the question here. In regards to AD&D, what are your thoughts on Paladins' continuous protection from evil? To first get into that, let's look at it directly from AD&D. I believe it's on page 40, 41, around there, depending on PDF versus book and which book. But when it basically refers to the clerical spell Protection of Evil. When this spell is cast, it acts as a magical armor upon the recipient. The protection encircles the recipient at a 1-foot distance, thus preventing bodily contact by creatures of enchanted and or conjured nature, such as aerial servants, demons, devils, dungeon, ifriti, elementals, imps, invisible stalkers, night hags, quasits, salamanders, water weirds, windwalkers, and Zorn. It's a big, extensive list. Summoned animals or monsters are similarly hedged from the protection, the protected creature. Furthermore, any and all attacks launched by evil creatures incur a -2 penalty to hit the protected creature. Any saving throw caused by such attacks are made at a +2 to the protected creature's die roll. The spell can be reversed to become a protection from good, although it still keeps out enchanted evil creatures as well. To complete this spell, the cleric must trace a 3-foot diameter circle upon the ground or floor with holy water and protection from evil, with blood for protection from good, or in the air using burning incense and smoldering dung with respect to good or evil. Now, with a paladin, this circle does move with the paladin because it's basically on the paladin. No one else can be protected from it. It's only the paladin, for one. There's a couple things to kind of note when you're looking at this spell, that the word extra-dimensional is never used, and most of the listed are elemental except for devils, demons, hags. Nor is positive or negative energy even mentioned in this as well. Undead are not mentioned on this list, and they're not really kept at bay. So they can touch you, but they'd be a negative attack, depending. You can argue that skeletons are not evil, so they're not really affected at all, unless they've been summoned, in which case they can't touch you at all. But the thing with this spell is, like many things with AD&D, there's so many different ways to interpret this that it relies upon what your DM thinks. As a DM is the final arbiter of the game, it's whatever he or she decides is going to happen here. Is it overpowered? Yeah, I think a little bit. if you do it as written. There are ways to get around it, obviously, because skeletons and zombies that are not summoned are basically neutral. They don't have an alignment, so to speak, and they can get through to hit you or attack you. So demons, devils, things that are summoned from extra planes, they can't really get at you. But, I mean, if the zombie was summoned, if the skeleton was summoned, which is a possibility depending on your campaign, and how the DM's handling it, yeah, they can't touch you. But I've had a lot of people who use this, and I've seen DMs say, well, you're in the Paladin circle. And I know in later editions, I believe in 3rd edition, they started doing it as you can be in that 10-foot radius and be protected like the Paladin. So it really is up to the DM. The rest of his question is, I feel like it's a bit overpowered. Having said that, the class was intended to be rare. It is a difficulty class to legitimately roll for, but there seems to be a lot of players with Paladins out there. Kind of like a questioning mark, eyebrow raised, like, are people really rolling those rolls? I mean, it really depends on how you want to play in your group. Generally, when you sit down to play a game, and people are picking out their classes, and someone says, I want to be a Paladin, you generally are like, okay, and you understand how a Paladin works, and they're generally excited about playing a Paladin, you'll probably make it work as a DM. Not a lot of people want to play Paladins, and having a Paladin in the group generally means you have a moral compass, guidance, leader in the group, depending on the player, obviously, if they know how to play it. But yeah, there are a lot of people who play Paladins in AD&D, I've noticed over the years, and it's a game. Everybody wants to play what they want to play. You can't be sitting there constantly being like, nope, you can't play that, I'd rather have a player play something and enjoy it than say no. I don't know. It really just depends on the player. If the player's an annoying asshole, I'm probably going to be like, no. Sorry, bro. If you make it, fine. But if we're cool and the group agrees that they want a Paladin, I'll make them roll and give them the basics that's needed for Paladin if they don't make it. If they make it, hey, beautiful. God bless you, play. They don't make it, I'll be like, all right, give yourself what you need in this stat or that stat, and then whatever attribute. All right, just give yourself that so you can be just the class itself. I don't think it's unfair to do that. And maybe you do, Leroy, and you may be more of a stickler for rules than I am. I'm not really that much of a stickler for rules. I never really have been. So, lastly, he asked, how do you feel about the overuse of Detect Evil ability? Oh my god. Sometimes I think the Detect Evil ability is used way too much. And I don't use Detect Evil unless the character himself is saying, I'm using Detect Evil. So I'm not one of those, my player can detect evil. He should have known he was evil because I did. No. The book even says you have to be focusing, looking in the right direction, even though you get it up to 60 feet. Let me look at the book real quick here. Detect evil up to 60-foot difference as often as desired, but only within the Paladin is concentrating or determining the presence of evil to seek to detect it in the right general direction. So, what's kind of funny about this is that if you think about it, the Paladin could be looking across the street 60 feet. Is that guy evil? And right behind him, someone could be doing an evil act and he can't figure it out because it's behind him and he's not concentrating in the right direction. So, but it is often overused. I could tell you many campaigns that I'm playing and describing an NPC, the first thing is, I detect evil. He's not evil. Okay. Next NPC, I detect evil. I personally think there should be some type of limit on it within a time frame. You could detect evil once every, 1 minute or something like that at least. Because it gets a little annoying after a while as a DM. Every person, can I detect evil? I detect evil. I detect evil. I guess it's part of the class abilities, but it is a little overused. I agree with you on that, but I don't know. What do you think out there, folks? Do you think Detect Evil is overused as an ability for AD&D or even later editions when it's just like Detect Evil, Detect Evil? You don't even have to be thinking about Detect Evil in later editions. You could just sense it. And it's more like a Spidey sense, I think, at that point. But yeah, hopefully that answered your questions. Don't forget to write in and ask the DM at theevildm.com. Hope you have a great day. Happy Memorial Day, and thank you to all out there that gave their lives, put their lives on the line for us to have the ability to do podcasts like this and have freedom in the United States. With that said, I'm going to head out. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night, and God bless everybody.